the teen, the young adult, it doesn't matter how old your kids are, help them get connected with what they want most. So I've literally been working with youth for 30 years. A lot of youth from wonderful families and literally inside a maximum security detention center, like from the worst of families. And I have yet to come across a youth that I cannot help connect to something great that they want. And so it's asking the right questions. Well, what is it you want? So the conversation goes completely away from what I want, from what the parents want, from what other people want. It's like, what is it that you want? What do you want from yourself? What do you want in your life? And then it's so easy to connect their actions to their desires. So we have a young man who's come to stay with us for a couple months, and I was talking to him, and he came and he told me some of the things he wants. Like, well, I really want this. And so then I tactfully said, well, are your current actions going to produce the results you want? And I didn't have to tell him. I didn't say, well, the way you're doing it won't work, or you're doing it wrong, or you're lazy, or whatever. I was like, well, is what you're doing right now and how you're doing it, is that going to lead to what you want? And he was like, oh, no. I was like, well, do you want my help? I'm happy to help you. You can do whatever you want. You can get whatever you want because it's your results. It won't affect me. It'll only affect you. But I'm like, if you really truly want that, do you want me to help you? And he said, yeah, I do. And I said, okay, if you want it, what you're saying by yes, I want it means I'm willing to be uncomfortable to get it, because we were specifically talking about fitness. And he said, yes, I'm willing to be uncomfortable to get it. I said, okay, here's what that looks like. So now all I have to do is remind him of what he wants so that he remembers to get uncomfortable when he doesn't feel like it. We're constantly connecting his actions to his desired outcomes. It's all him. It's all on him. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to set an example and try to inspire him by leading out and being that model of the things he wants.
So then that actually, I think, ties in well to some of these specific ways of doing that, because yes, having those types of conversations is super powerful. And then as we think about our job as architects, we've got to get creative in thinking about how we can orchestrate the environment or the routines that facilitate those things that they say they want. And sometimes that's often what I think my job is as a mom. My kids will talk to me and tell me about something they're interested in, something they want to change, something they want to improve. And then I start thinking, okay, what resources do I need? What research do I need? What do I need to buy, invest in, create, do to make that a reality in our life? Very often with me, especially with, well, I think kids of all ages, but with teens, me participating in that activity with them, at least one of us participating in that activity with them to help them, not to do it for them, not to rescue them from doing it themselves, but to be the facilitator, the architect of creating those opportunities, right? So awesome. What if she doesn't seem to know what she wants? My 16-year-old doesn't seem to want to talk about what she wants. She doesn't like to talk about the future plans, really. This conversation seems to bother her. Maybe I've been making too many choices for her. That's very insightful, and I think that that may be a part of the problem. And so sometimes, yes, sometimes having that conversation is powerful. Sometimes what's needed is just to back off and to literally provide the space for them to decide, for them to experiment, for them to explore. And I think we have a really hard time with that. I know I do. Because sometimes to us, that looks like they're doing nothing. We're like, you're literally doing nothing. You're wasting your life, right? I can't stand it. You're wasting your time. And then I always remind myself, I've told you guys this before, about Leonardo da Vinci, who's literally a genius, would spend hours sitting outside staring at the clouds. It's okay. When they are sitting there looking like they're doing nothing, guess what they're doing? Thinking. Even if it's diffused thinking, right? There's focused thinking when you're working on a task, and then there's diffused thinking where your brain flits from here to there to everywhere. That's a very powerful form of thinking. And one of the downsides, I think, of our society is we don't have enough time for diffused thinking. Thinking where we don't have to be focused on doing a specific task, but we just get to let our minds wander. That is powerful. So we should be allowing the freedom for our kids to have the space to be able to do that type of thinking.